Welcome, everyone. It is time for Shift 101 Workshop, Industry-Based IT Skills Development and Training. Our mission is to share and make skills available and affordable for all. Our objective is to produce industry-based output on each topic and session, and offer a classroom type of discussion where we can work, do hands-on, and ask questions all at the same time, either face-to-face or virtual. Most importantly, every session does have a certificate of attendance, a certificate of completion at the end of each topic, and a certificate of excellence in Shift 101 Workshop Coding Challenge. All sessions for 1C Solutions are free, as this is sponsored by and in partnership with 1C Company. Please allow us to promote 1C Skills Camp. Jumpstart your IT career globally this 2024 with 1C Skills Camp. Earn international certificates with 1C Enterprise Platform, featuring Development Basics Junior Course and Advanced Mobile Developer Course, and also 1C Company Management. Be able to join international competitions, learn business automation with 1C Company Management, and join BRICS Future Skills 2024 to be held in Kazan, Russia in October, and the Professionals 2024 to be held in St. Petersburg, also in Russia, in November. Unleash your potential. Register now via 1cskills.com. Our official training will start on March 15, 2024. 1C Skills Camp is presented by 1C Company and Shift 101, featuring BRICS, International Professional Development Platform, The Professionals, and 1C Enterprise Platform in partnership with 1C Vietnam, 1C Forest Mongolia, 1CI Indonesia, RISE South Africa, Sina from Colombia, and AJC Dev from Morocco. Okay, so for the future of a 1C developer, there's a growing number of 1C partners globally, and if in a few years they will be needing 1C developers. For our tips today, we have some 1C terms like infobase, so it is the term used for the database, and we also have catalogs and documents which pertains to classes. So no coding is required for this session, but we can see codes generated by wizards. Before we start, we expect that everyone or some of you has already downloaded and installed 1C platform training version. So our topic one is for 1C Solutions is 1C Enterprise Platform, and for our first session we have 1C Enterprise Platform for beginners. So our objective is to develop an inventory system just for today's session. Based from our final dry run last time, it took us 1.5 hours to finish the session. But if you are knowledgeable with 1C Enterprise Platform, you will be able to finish it in 30 minutes. And if you are an average developer of 1C, you can finish it in 15. And if you are an advanced developer, you can finish the inventory system, believe it or not, in 3 minutes. And so our trainer for today, so he is a 1C Skills Camp champion since 2020. He's also a 1C Skills Camp mentor and now a 1C junior developer. So please welcome Mr. Isaac Greyole Balingit. Sir Isaac, we are now ready. And to our participants, let's do it.
Hello everyone, good morning. My name is Isaac and I'm going to be your trainer for today. Okay, so let's start. Okay. Today we're going to talk about the 1C Enterprise Platform. So what is the 1C Enterprise Platform? Well, it is a development platform for fast creation of easily customizable business automation software for cloud, desktop, or mobile. And it is developed and designed by 1C Company from Russia, in Russia. So, meaning it's not just another programming language or another IDE, we can say that it's like a whole package for development, because inside the platform, it allows us to develop, debug, and set up and even launch our applications. So the question is, why is this system worth learning and applying? Why do we need to study it? Well, the first reason is because large business solutions market has been built around 1C. 1C company is one of the big companies, if not the biggest software developer, distributor, and publisher in Russia. And a lot of companies use 1C based system for managing their business processes. And next, of course, every new skill comes with new opportunities. Thousands of people have made creating solutions to business problems based on 1C as a profession. Like me, for example, I'm one of them. I'm now part of the 1C team as a junior software developer. So here are the things that we're going to learn today. First one is the infobase. So, as Mr. Joey said before, it's like the in database for 1C. Then the metadata classes and objects, relations, reports, and we will learn the steps on how to create our own applications using the 1C Enterprise platform. Let's talk about the infobase. The unique thing about the infobase is it doesn't just contain the user data, but also the whole configuration. Full configuration means the code, the forms, everything for in your application is inside this infobase. With that being said, it means that every 1C infobase is an application itself. Okay? And each infobase contains users' data and a program which the platform executes. So this is one keyword. Each infobase is a single 1C enterprise application because the infobase contains everything. Okay, let's go ahead and create our own application. We are going to make an application for our shop where we sell some products. So it's going to be an inventory system, and there's also going to be a report where we can see how many products we have in stock. And good thing about this one is we're going to do it without writing a single code. So these are the features that our application is going to have. First one is list of products. Of course, we need it to see the products that we're going to sell in our store, and then documents for selling and buying products. We need something to process the transactions of our store. And lastly, the inventory report. Okay, so let's start the 1C Enterprise Training version. Everyone, please. Then after opening the 1C Enterprise Training version, we can add a new infobase by clicking the Add button. So click the Add button. Clicking the Add button will bring us in here. We see that there are three ways to add infobases. We'll select the first one because we want to create a new one. Then after choosing the first one, click Next. And again, just click Next on this page because we don't know anything about templates yet. Then we have to give a name for our infobase. I named mine as My Super Shop here, but you can choose your own if you want, or you can just copy the name, My Super Shop. Then after naming, again, we have to click Next. Then on this page, we need to select a location where we want to store our infobase. So by default, it's inside the documents folder. If you want, you can just keep it that way, or if you want to store it in a particular or in a specific folder, you can do that. And then we're going to keep the language as English. Okay, click Next. Lastly, we'll just click the Finish button and not worry about these things for now, or these settings. Finally, our info base was created. So what we're gonna do is open it in designer mode. Please click this button, designer button. Then it will open up the designer mode. So tip for everyone, if you're just using a single monitor, you can just set up your windows like this so that you can see the presentation all the time throughout this whole session. So zoom on the left side, zoom window on the left side, and then 1C designer mode on the right side. Okay. This window is called the configuration. This is where we set up, this window is called the designer mode. This is where we set up or configure our application. And then let's open up the configuration by clicking here, the configuration, and then open configuration. You can see this button from the upper left corner. Then on clicking that, it will open up the configuration tree. What we see here from the configuration tree are called metadata classes. Metadata classes are predefined configurable building blocks that are widely used in enterprise applications. So metadata classes can actually be compared to classes in OOP. Like here, for example. What we see on the right is the creation of employee class. And inside it are properties or attributes of the class employee. So it has name attribute and then address. Metadata classes are simply classes. Here, metadata classes are simply classes that are predefined and they already have standard attributes. For example, let's take this catalogs metadata classes. Metadata class, for example, it has description and code as one of its predefined attributes. So it's like the name and the address. But the difference is it is predefined, so we don't have to code or we don't have to write a code something like this every time we need to create a class. So we have it here predefined already in the application. But if you don't have an experience with OOP, we can actually compare it to real life objects. Let's compare it to a car. Okay, on the left side is a class. We know that it's a car because of its attributes, like size, lifting capacity, purpose, engine power, wheel size, etc. So car is a class. When does it become an object? So like this, it becomes an object when when it has values, okay? When it has values to its attribute. So car is a class and BMW X5 is an object. So because the attributes have value already. Another example is a phone or a mobile phone. Mobile phone is a class and then iPhone 11 is an object. Let's move on. We're going to implement the example. Okay, let's add a new catalog. So to add a new object, or yes, add a new class, right click the catalogs here and then click add. Okay, right click catalogs from the configuration tree and then click the add button. After that, we are going to name it cars. So we're just going to use cars because that's what we use for explaining the metadata classes. So we're just going to stick by our example. So we use catalogs whenever we want to store information or list objects of the same types. In this example, we want to have a list of the cars that we are going to sell. That's why we need a catalog. Remember, we are creating an application for a store. So for this store, we are going to sell cars. So by creating catalog cars, we're going to have a list of cars in our application. Then let's move on to the data tab. Let's go to the data tab right here. We'll see that we can change how the data is presented on the top right here. So as description, code length, description length. So, but let's not worry about this for now. We're going to talk about these two fields right here. So these two fields are used for adding attributes, like what we see before on the class code. So there's a name and address attribute. So this is where we can add the attributes that we need right here and here. So what we're going to do is we are going to add an attribute here on the top. So click this button, the add button, and then name the new attribute as colors. Color. So we're going to keep it simple for now. We're just going to add an attribute color. And then, like I said before, the classes has its standard attributes or predefined attributes. So it has a code and description attribute. Description is like a name. Okay, and then code is number. Like, for example, we can use it as ID number. But reference, this one, is similar to databases keys. Like, if you remember or if you have experience in creating a database, so there are tables keys, right? So we use the primary key as a foreign key for other tables, so it can be it so it has relationships. Okay. Let's launch and check our application in debug mode by pressing this button. You can see it on the top left corner or by simply pressing F5 on our keyboard. Okay, great. We can see that our application can maintain a list of cars for our store. So to open up the list of cars, you can see it here on the menu, top left corner. And we have an empty list for now, but we can create items by pressing the create button. So everyone, please go ahead and populate the list. I filled mine with random cars and gave some colors. If you want, you can copy the example. So I added 4 items: the blue BMW X5, the red Dodge Challenger, the red Lamborghini Aventador, and the white Honda City. Okay. Remember, we are able to add this list or this form to our application by adding the catalogs. So by just adding the catalog cars and adding one attribute, we now have a list. We can now list the products that we sell for our store. So it's that easy. So just remember the use of catalogs. We use it if we want to store information or if we want to list items or objects of same type. In this case, we wanted to list the cars. Okay, so let's move on and talk about the documents. What is a document? Documents are configuration objects that creates an event in the economics of our enterprise. For example, employment documents, customer orders, sales, and purchases. Okay, So our store requires to manage, yeah, the application requires to manage the sales and purchases transactions of our store. So this documents is what we're going to use for registering our sales and purchase documents. So again, let's go to designer mode and we are going to add a document. So right click an object, the document, and then click the add button. Same process when creating catalogs. Right click, then add button, but this time we need a document. After clicking the add button, give it the name sales. Okay. Now we are going to have a sales document for registering our sales transactions for our store. Moving on, again, we need to go to the data tab. So it's the fourth tab. If we check the standard attributes for documents, we'll see that there's three standard attributes that the catalog doesn't have. First one is the number. The number is just similar to the catalog scope. And the date and posted is important because every document is attached to time. So it is very helpful for us to know when the event happened. We are going to process transactions using documents. So date and date, time, or if it's posted is very important to know. This time, we need to add an attribute to our tabular section. Remember, before we added an attribute here on the top, but right now, we need to add an attribute here from the bottom part. This way, we'll have a table where we can specify the products that we sell per transaction. So from the word itself, tabular section, okay? Tabular means that it's going to have or it's going to use a table. But why do we need a table for specifying the products that we sell or the products that we buy? Well, the main reason is for us to be able to select multiple products per document or per transaction. Of course, there are some situations where the customers are going to buy multiple products, like, for example, two cars, three cars, right? It's not just always going to be one car. So let's start. Click this button to add a tabular section. And then let's name it products list, like this. If you guys notice, when we are naming objects or attributes here in 1C Enterprise, we don't use spaces. We just make the first letter as capital for each word. Like this, products is one word, and then list is another word. So we made the L as capital, products list. And now that we have a table or a tabular section, we can now add an attribute to our table. So by clicking the add attribute button, so it's this one, adding an attribute will add columns to our table, like you see here in this picture. For example, you add an attribute for uh, car, then attribute for quantity, attribute for price. So attributes is going to be or are going to be the columns of our table. First attribute that we're going to add is a car. Name it car. So the first column will be car, and then we're going to change its type to catalog ref.cars. We'll see this window pop up in the right corner. Change its type to catalog ref.cars. So by adding this attribute, we're going to have a column in our table for cars, okay? And then by changing its type to catalog ref.cars, it will allow us to put the objects that we created in our list and put it there as a value. So let's check this word. Catalog ref.cars means it should reference to the car's catalog, okay? Referencing to car's catalog. Cars ca- catalog. Catalog ref cars. Lastly, let's add another two attribute. Let's add quantity and price. And then change its type to number. Same process by changing the type here before we use catalog cars. But for these two new attributes, let's make the type as number and set the type as number. Okay, again, what we did here is we added an attribute to the bottom corner of the data tab for us to be able to use a table. So we added a tabular section. We named it products list to specify our products. We added a car attribute and then quantity and then price. So our table is going to have three columns. Okay, again, let's start our application by pressing F5 from our keyboard. Um, everyone, will anyone please share their screen and show everyone our new created document and show everyone how to create documents. So that's our list of cars or products. And as you can see, we now have a sales document newly created. Okay. Everyone go to the document that we just added and then create a new one. So same with the catalog, we have to just press the create button and then it will open up this form. Okay, so we have here is the data number, so end number. Don't worry about this, it's automatic. And then we'll see here our added attribute. Our added table, tabular section. We will also see the three attribute for the table that we added. So car, quantity, and the price. Okay. Notice that when selecting a car for a document, it lets us choose from the items that we added or that we have in our catalog, right? These are the items that I added before from my catalog list or cars catalog. Then it lets me choose or it let me put these objects to this attribute. Again, this happened because we set the type of this car as catalog ref.cars. Okay, again, catalog ref.cars means referencing to cars catalog. This attribute car use the reference of the car's catalog. Okay, that's why it lets us choose the objects and then put it here on this attribute as a value. So go ahead, create some documents. I'll give you some time. Make at least 2 or 3 documents. So just imagine you just sell any car. Doesn't have to be a lot, but what we see here on this list are the list of metadata classes that you can use the references. So just like what we saw, we use the catalog reference for our document. And here are the full list of the classes that you can use if you want to use the reference, the objects. So reference, it basically sets a relationship between an object and an attribute, just like what we saw in the previous example. Okay, now let's look at this example. In the red square, we have an attribute. Okay, we don't have to add this attribute. I'm just using it as an example. And then in the black square, we have a tabular section. Yes. So we can easily notice that the main difference between the two is in the tabular section, we can set multiple values. Here, we can set unlimited number of rows. And then here, the document attribute, we can just set one value. So keep it in mind when developing an application here in 1C Enterprise. Think about the attribute are adding. Do you need multiple values like this, the cars that you sell, or you just need one value? Okay, now that we have a document that records our sales, we can just clone our document and change it to purchases. Okay, because the purchase documents needs the same attributes or needs the same set of attributes with the sales document. So they just both need a tabular section that records the products that we sell or buy. So they don't need any different attributes. So right click the sales document and then clone it, then name it purchases. Okay, now we have 2 documents. Our application can now record the sales transactions of our store and also the purchases transaction of our store. Purchases, we use it if we want to restock, if we want to buy the products from our supplier. Okay? Again, guys, I'll give you some time. I'll give you 2 minutes to explore the documents. Just check how to use it, explore the application that we made. Okay, you have 2 minutes, create documents, and then we'll move on. Okay, time is done. Okay, now that we have a list of products, okay, a document that records their sales, so and also a document that records our purchases. So our application can now list the products and can also process the transactions, can also record the transactions. Next question is, how do we track the number of items left in stock? And that's a question. So do we just calculate the document? I mean, do we just check the documents one by one, check what products we purchased or sold, and then calculate? I mean, like this. So we'll check this first document. See here, I purchased one Red Dodge Challenger. I'm going to list it. And then again, check second document. I see here that I purchased red Lamborghini one piece. And then again, check the next document. Purchased three white Honda City. Right? It's not ideal. Well, I got the result here. But I also have to check all the sales document and then subtract it with our result from the purchase document, right? This is the result that I got from the purchase document. This is the cars that I purchased, but I only checked the purchases document. This is not the final result of the cars in stock because I don't know yet what cars I sold to customers. Okay. So will this work? I mean, it's okay for now, but we only have a few documents, and it won't be convenient when we have a lot. Let's say in the future we have hundreds or even thousands of documents, right? We cannot check them one by one. It will take us a lot of time. We check it one by one, and then after checking it, we have to do the math. We have to subtract the sold cars to the purchased cars, but we don't have to worry because we really doesn't have to do that because we have the accumulation register to the rescue. What is the accumulation register, or simply register? In a business, a register is used to collect and combine information about business processes. Again, example, sales and purchases. What we see here in, in this slide is an example work of a register scheme. So after creating a document, we store the information to the register. Here's the register. After creating document, we store the information to the register that we may need later for creating a report. So it makes creation of report easier and faster because we only have to look at important informations, right? We don't have to check all the documents one by one because everything is recorded in the register for every time a new document is created. So in creating a report, we have all the data that we need. So how does the accumulation register store data? Well, it stores numerical information broken down by some data. What does that mean? Simply put, simply put, broken down by some data means data grouping. Okay, as we can see from this result, the numbers are broken down by car, right? Two, one, three. And here are the cars. What if it isn't grouped by cars? Then it will look like this. We know that we have purchased 6 cars, but we don't know what cars we purchase because they are not grouped by some data or by some, yeah, they're not grouped. Okay, let's go to the designer mode again. We are going to add a new accumulation register and then name it cars in stock. Again, the naming, we don't have to use space. We just make the first letter of every word as capital. So we name it cars in stock. Then the next step, we are going to add a dimension here, expand the register, right click to dimension and add car. Once again, for our car dimension, we are going to set its type to catalog ref.cars. I hope you guys still remember how to change the type. Again, in our cars in stock accumulation register, we are going to add a dimension car with type catalog ref.cars. So this dimension will use the reference of the car's catalog. Then after that, let's add a resource with type number. Not a dimension. This time we need to add a resource. Here, name it quantity, and then with type number. Quantity with type number. Cars in stock accumulation register with dimension car with and then resource quantity. So what are the dimensions and resources? Well, dimensions defines how the data should be broken down or the data grouping simply. Whereas quantity is the numerical data that we need or this resource quantity, the numerical data that we need. Okay, now we need to make the documents post to our register. Okay, we have created the document, but its data still doesn't go to the register because we still haven't set up the connection between the two. So let's go set up the sales document first. So first step here, double click the sales document from the configuration tree, then go to posting tab. So going to the posting tab, check the cars in stock accumulation register that we created, and then open the record wizard. I hope everyone still follows the steps. If you have some problems, please message us from the chat. Or if you have any questions or need clarifications. After clicking the record wizard, we see this window. We're going to see this window, and in this window, there are multiple sections. This section, this section, this, and this. The first one is the list of registers that we can edit or we can post to. We can only see this one for now because that's all we have. We only have this register. Next one are the documents attributes. Okay. So there's date and number. And then next one is the record time. There are two options here. First one is the receipt. Receipt is for incrementing the total value, or if we're adding to the resource value. And then expense is for decrementing the total value, or if we're subtracting to the resource value. Of course, we are editing the sales document, which means we are selling the car, right? So the document, the record type that we're going to use is expense because we're subtracting a car from our system because we are selling it to customers. So choose this record type to expense. Set the record type to expense. This one is interesting. It allows us to get the attribute list from the tabular section. As we see here, we only see the date and number attribute. But if we remember, we created the tabular section with car, quantity, and price attributes, and it's not here. For us to see it, we have to click the drop down menu and then choose the product list tabular section here. So click this and then select our table. Then the set of attributes from the tabular section. Set of attributes from the tabular section will be available for selection. And at last, this is where we set the data to be posted. The first one is the dimension of a register. Or again, it specifies how the data it should be broken down. Okay. And then the next one is the resource or the quantity resource that we added when we created our accumulation register. So let's go ahead and fill up the expression. For it to be easier for us, we can just click the fill expressions button, that one. What it will do is it will automatically fill the expressions by looking for attributes that have the same name and same type. Okay? Like this. Automatically filled it up with car attribute because it has the same name, car, car, and then they have the same type as catalog ref.cars. Then for the quantity resource, uses this attribute from the table because they both have the quantity, name, and then the type number. We're done, so let's click OK. Then it will open up a window that has some lines of codes in it. So what is this code for? This code is for posting the document data to the register. We didn't write it because we only used the wizard, but just for info, this is the line that gets executed whenever the document is created. So let's not worry about this for now. Okay, a challenge for you guys. I want you to set up the posting procedure for purchase document. So we just finished setting up the posting procedure for the sales document and then try to set up the posting procedure for the purchase document. Okay. I'll show you once again how to set up the posting procedure, but this time it's for the purchase document. Just in case anyone wasn't successful for setting it up, first we double click the purchases register to open up the edit mode, this, this window here, and then we go to the posting tab, and then check the cars in stock accumulation register for us to be able to edit the procedure, and then choose it, I mean, click the record wizard button. to open up the record wizard with this window. Okay, so here it is. If you remember, we chose it here and then tabular section for us to be able to get the attribute data and then fill expressions. Then it went here, right? But do you guys notice any difference from the sales posting setup? Well, the main difference, the only difference is the record type. This time we set it to receipt. Okay? But why? Because we are purchasing products. Okay? We are purchasing a car. We are restocking. So we need to add to the total balance because we are adding a car in stock. So we choose receipt and the other step is just the same. Then we click OK. After clicking OK, it will show us the posting procedure that was generated by the wizard. Once again, let's not worry about it for now and launch our application. Again, we launch our application, or we can launch our application by pressing F5 on our keyboard. Now we need to repost all of our document. Well, because we already created, why do we need to repost it? The answer is because we already created these documents before we created the register and set up posting. So the data of this document is not yet recorded to the register. If you remember the work scheme, so we had the document the first, and then in the middle we had the register, and then the last one we had the reports. So we created documents at the time that we still don't have the register yet. So data of the documents didn't go to the register or the new register. So let's go ahead and repost it. We can easily do that by clicking any document. So select the first one and then select all by pressing Control plus A on our keyboard. What it will do, it will select it all and then go to more actions, and click post. So now our purchases documents or all of our purchases documents are posted. Do the same to the sales documents. Again, click any of the document, press Control plus A on your keyboard to select all, then more actions and post. Then we're going to check if the data was posted to the register. Launch the application, and then from this menu, drop down menu, this menu is called service and settings. Okay, this drop down is called service and settings. Click it and then select the functions for technicians. Then a window will pop up. Locate the accumulation register, the cars in stock accumulation register. And if you see data, that means we are successful on posting the data to the register. And if you don't, maybe there was some problem in setting up the procedure, the posting procedure. Now let's just talk about this table a little. So the first column is period. This is the time when the document was created or the time when the transaction happened. Okay? This is when the time the transaction happened, or when the purchase happened, or when the sale happened. Then the recorder column has the, it specifies which document posted the data, which means this row was posted by purchase document number one. So in purchase document number one, says here that it was posted this time and this date. Then this is the car dimension that we added. So we can see it as the cars and then the quantity resource. Okay, this is what it looks like when there are sales documents. So as we see here from the recorder, it is mixed. So we have purchase documents, sales document. So that's it. Okay. But again, this is still not ideal. Why? Because we still have to do the math. So we see here, I bought red Dodge Challenger of 2 pieces. Then here, I sold one. That means I only have one in stock. The red Lamborghini, and then I didn't sold one. That means I still have that car in stock. So this is not ideal for an owner or a staff to just calculate it every time. Go here, calculate, check how many we purchased, how many we sold. So this is where reports come to play. Reports are objects that are used when we want to display data. Okay, reports are used when we want to display data or information from the infobase to the user. Okay, we can use it. We can use it to show the number of cars left in stock. So the number of cars left in stock is in the database or is in the infobase. So we're going to use the report to display it to the user. Again, let's add a report. From the configuration tree, right click the report class and then click add. Then name it cars in stock report. Cars in stock report. Okay, again, we have a list of cars that we sold by creating a catalog car. And then we have 2 documents, which are sales and purchases to register our transaction in our store. And then we added a register to get the important data that we need for our report. So the accumulation register gets the data from the purchases and sales document. And then from the accumulation register, we will get the data so we can easily display the number of cars in stock by using reports. Then we click Open Data Composition Schema, and it will open up a new window, which is this one. Then from this window, just click Finish. After clicking Finish, we see this window. Okay, what is this window? This is where we set up our report. On the left side, here, we see the data sets. Okay, data sets are the data that we use to display on our report. This is the data that we display or that we are going to display in our report. We can add a data set by clicking this button. We'll click that button and we'll see that there are 3 ways to add a query. To add a data set. But we'll just select the first one, which is the query, because this is the most common one. And this is what we're going to use almost every time, even on the later stage. So select the query, the first one. Now we need lines from query to get some data from the infobase. But as promised, we are not going to write a single line of code for now, even a single line of query. Okay? Good news is even if we need a query, we also have a wizard here called the query wizard. So it's this one. If you remember, we also used the wizard for the posting documents. And as a result, we got lines of codes for posting generated by wizard. So we didn't type the code for the documents data to go to the register. We just used the posting wizard or the record wizard. So it's this code, if you remember. Yeah. Okay, everyone, please click the query wizard. Query wizard, open it. Here we see the query wizard window. Okay, there are three fields here. The first one, this field, is the database. Okay, here, the title database. In here, we can select where we want to get our data from. You can see there, here's our classes, and our goal is to get how many cars we have in stock. And again, we use the documents to record the transaction. But after creating documents, we post the important informations or the car and quantity to the register. That means the record that we need should be here. And we need the cars balance, so we are going to use the balance table. So double click this cars in stock that balance table. Click this cars in stock that balance, because once again we want to know the balance of cars. After you click it, it will move to the selected tables field, this area. This field allows us to select the tables that we want to use for our report. In this case, we need both the car dimension, so car dimension and quantity balance resource. So and select the two, move it to the selected fields. Okay, now that we have the fields that we need, we can go ahead and click OK. We're not going to worry about the other tabs for now. Click OK. And as we can see, we now have a written query, which is generated by the query wizard. So again, we just use the wizard for us not to write the query, okay? Now, some of you may have noticed that the 1C query language is quite similar to the SQL query, like this. So this is the SQL query. So we get the select command, the alias, from, and then the table, where it gets the data from. So if we look at them next to each other, they have a similar structure. We're, we are actually almost done, guys, with creating a report. The only thing left to do is set how we want to display our data in a report. So let's go to the settings tab. It's this tab, the last tab from the main data composition schema. We only need to worry about two things for now. That is, the first one, the groupings, this field, the groupings, and then the selected fields here, this tab from this field. Okay. For it to be easier for us, again, we are going to use a wizard So let's click this button to open up the settings wizard. That button here. So this button at the top. Click that, and then here we have three options on how the report should be displayed. So we have the list to display the data as a list, the table to display the data in a table, and it says here that it can also be arranged horizontally and vertically. Okay, and then lastly, a chart, of course, to display the data in a chart. So, but this time we just want to display the data in a list because we only need a simple report to show the car's balance. So click the list, select the list, and click next. Then it will let us choose the fields that we want to include in our report. Of course, we need both the car and quantity balance field. Okay, car and quantity balance. So select them both, move it to the selected fields, and then click OK. And then let's launch our application now. Okay, so here's my application. I'm going to go through all of the objects that we added for all of the class. So first, we use a catalog to for us to be able to list the cars that we are going to sell. So here, cars catalog here. And then next, we added two documents, which are sales and purchases, for us to be able to record the transactions or to handle the transactions of our store. So here, then sales. And then we added an accumulation register to get the important data for us to be able to create or generate a report faster. So here is the report that we created. As we can see, it instantly tells me how many cars I have in stock. Okay, instantly tells me how many cars I have in my store without checking all the documents and doing mathematics, doing mathematics to store. I mean, to calculate how many cars I have in stock. So, yeah, it's that easy. We just by clicking some items, I mean, some settings here, right? From the configuration tree. Now we have a fully functional application that can handle the small businesses because it can record sales, purchases, can list the products that the store is going to sell, and then it can tell the owner how many products that he have in stock, how many products that they have in stock. So yeah, I hope my explanation was clear. And if you guys have any questions or you want clarifications, please ask because we are done creating the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think we do not have any questions for our from our participants. So let me now just close.
For me, I don't have any question yet.
Mhm. All right. So thank you, Mr. Asap, for your demonstration of creating sales and inventory system in 1C Enterprise platform. We hope that you, our participants, have learned the basics of 1C Enterprise platform. Don't worry, as we'll be posting this recording via the 1C Skills YouTube channel. That's in youtube.com/at 1C Skills. And then for our next session, we will be focusing on the preparations for 1C Skills Camp 2024, specifically working with Skills Hub and the 1C Enterprise, the First Step Beginners course. If you haven't registered yet in 1C Skills Camp 2024, please do at 1cskills.com. Please invite your friends too. And if you have any questions or comments, please let us know by joining us in our 1C community page. That is on facebook.com/groups/1C Skills Camp. So this has been Shift 101 Workshop, Industry-Based IT Skills Development and Training. So thank you once again, Mr. Isaac and participants, for your time. Always share our skills and let's do it. See you in the next session.